Your dad worked at the factory, single income, $45,000 a year in today's dollars. He bought a 3-bedroom house, owned 2 cars, took the family on vacation every summer, put 3 kids through college, retired at 62 with a pension. He was middle class. You make $75,000 a year. You can barely afford rent. You're drowning in student loans. You drive a financed car you can't really afford. Retirement? You've got $31,000 saved at age 34. Vacation? Maybe every other year if nothing breaks. You think you're middle class. You're not. You're working poor with a better title and a nicer apartment. The middle class doesn't exist anymore. It was systematically eliminated over the past 40 years. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how they did it, with the data they don't want you to see. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Wealth Context, where we reveal the real story behind money and power. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. All right, so let's define what middle class actually meant, because the term has been so corrupted that people making $30,000 and people making $200,000 both think they're middle class. What middle class actually meant? In the 1970s, being middle class meant you could afford these things on a single income. Own a home, not rent. Own a car or 2, paid off, not financed forever. Support a family on 1 income. Save 10 to 15% for retirement. Put kids through college without massive debt. Take an annual vacation, have emergency savings. Healthcare covered by employer. That was the deal. 1 income. All of that covered with money left over. Now let's look at today. The 2026 reality. Here's what the median American household actually looks like. Income, $75,000. That's 2 people working, not 1. Home ownership rate by generation. Baby boomers at age 35, 65%. Gen X at age 35, 58%. Millennials at age 35, 43%. Millennials are 22 percentage points less likely to own a home than their parents were at the same age. That's not a small gap. That's a generational collapse. Why? Because home prices have completely decoupled from wages. In 1970, the median home cost 2.3 times the median annual income. Today, it's 6 to 8 times annual income depending on the market. In cities like San Francisco or New York, it's 12 to 15 times. Your parents bought a house with 2 years of their salary. You need 8 years of your salary. That's not middle class. That's feudalism with extra steps. The wealth concentration. Here's the stat that should terrify you. The top 10% of Americans now own 67% of all wealth in the country. The bottom 50%, they own 2%. 2%? And the middle 40%, the people who think they're middle class, they own 31%. But here's the kicker. Most of that is home equity. Illiquid wealth locked in a house they still owe money on. So the middle class owns 31% of the wealth, but it's not accessible. They can't spend it. They live in it. Meanwhile, the top 10% owns actual liquid wealth. Stocks, bonds, real estate portfolios, assets that generate income. The middle class owns a house. The wealthy own the system. The middle class checklist. Nobody passes. Let's go through the traditional markers of middle class life and see how many people actually qualify. Own a home. Only 43% of millennials at age 35, down from 65%. Own cars, paid off. Average car loan is now $28,000 with 72-month terms. People are financing depreciating assets for 6 years. Support family on one income. Impossible. 2-income households are now mandatory just to afford rent. Save 10 to 15% for retirement. The median retirement account balance for people aged 35 to 44 is $45,000. They're supposed to have $150,000 to $200,000 by that age. They're 75% behind. Put kids through college without debt. Average student loan debt is $37,000 per borrower. College now costs $100,000 to $200,000 plus for 4 years. Annual vacation? Maybe, if nothing breaks. If no emergencies happen, if they put it on a credit card and pay it off slowly. Emergency savings. 69% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. Healthcare covered. Even with employer insurance, families pay $1,500 to $2,500 per month in premiums plus deductibles. Nobody checks all these boxes anymore. Nobody. What replaced the middle class? So if the middle class is gone, what replaced it? The upper poor. These are people making $50,000 to $100,000 who think they're middle class because they have a job title, a financed car, and an apartment. But they're one layoff, one medical emergency, one car breakdown away from financial collapse. They're not middle class. They're poor people with credit cards. Here's how you know. If you had to stop working for 6 months, would you be okay? If the answer is no, you're not middle class. You're working poor with better branding. The actual middle class had cushion. They had savings, they had equity, they had options. Today's middle class has debt, stress, and an Instagram feed that makes them look successful. How did this happen? This wasn't an accident. This was policy. Let me show you the timeline, 1970s to 1980s. Pension systems eliminated, replaced with 401s, Ks, shifted risk from employer to employee. Union membership collapses from 35% to 10%. Real wages stagnate while productivity soars 1990s to 2000s. Healthcare costs explode, tied to employment to trap workers. College tuition increases 200% faster than inflation. Housing prices decouple from wage growth 2008 to 2026. Bailouts for banks, austerity for workers. Gig economy destroys job security and benefits. Student loan debt reaches $1.7 trillion. Housing becomes an investment vehicle for the wealthy instead of shelter. Every single policy decision for 40 years moved wealth from the middle class to the top 10%. This wasn't random. This was the plan. The political lie. Here's what makes me crazy. Politicians still talk about strengthening the middle class like it exists. It doesn't. You can't strengthen something that's already dead. What they mean is, we're going to make sure the working poor can keep borrowing enough to look middle class on Instagram. More debt, more credit, more financing. That's not a middle class. That's a debtor class. Real middle class policy would look like housing prices regulated to wages, healthcare decoupled from employment, free or low-cost college, pension systems restored, union protections strengthened. But that's not happening because the system benefits from you thinking you're middle class while you're actually working poor. It keeps you compliant. It keeps you voting against your own interests. It keeps you quiet. The uncomfortable truth. Here's what you need to understand. The American dream isn't deferred. It's dead. It was killed intentionally to concentrate wealth at the top. Your parents' generation was the last middle class. You're not middle class. Your kids won't be middle class. Not unless something fundamentally changes. And I know that's hard to hear because we've been sold this story that if we just work hard enough, get the right degree, make the right choices, we'll be middle class too. But the math doesn't work anymore. The system doesn't allow it. You can work 60 hours a week. You can have 2 degrees. You can do everything right, and you'll still be one emergency away from broke. That's not middle class. That's a trap. What you can actually do. So what now? Here's the reality. Option 1. Accept you're not middle class and optimize for survival. Focus on income growth, not lifestyle inflation. Build actual liquid savings, not just home equity. Invest in skills that can't be outsourced. Geographic arbitrage, move to lower cost areas. Option 2, build wealth differently. The old middle class path is dead, so stop following it. Instead, focus on ownership, businesses, real estate assets. Build multiple income streams. Invest aggressively. You can't save your way to middle class anymore. Learn high-income skills. Option 3, recognize the game and stop playing it. Stop comparing yourself to a middle class that doesn't exist. Stop trying to look successful with debt. Stop believing the system will fix itself. The middle class was a 40-year experiment. It's over. Now you either build real wealth or you stay working poor forever. Look, I know this is depressing, but here's the thing. Understanding the truth is the first step to actually doing something about it. As long as you think you're middle class, you'll keep making middle class decisions that keep you broke. But once you accept that the game has changed, you can start playing a different game. A game where you build actual wealth, where you own assets, where you're not dependent on a system designed to extract from you. If this video opened your eyes to the reality of modern economics, hit that like button and subscribe to Money Context for more financial truth. Drop a comment. Do you think you're middle class, or are you ready to admit you're working poor with a nicer title? Let's talk about it. I'll see you in the next one.